And so I'll open now this event. And are you having some kind of presentations from Appens Brothers, or is it lively show like you used to do in Namibia?
Of course, we have both. We have presentation, we have website, we have calculator even for the integrated solar. So this is the topic that we're gonna cover today. So as you all know, we do solar and especially integrated solar solutions, and we are excited to share with you some. Yes, Heikki?
Yes. I see that you had joined with two different addresses. So shall I give you the speaker's rights to Solar PV Latvia Group or to there was earlier Richard Appens? Which one I choose?
Yes, to the Richard Appens. So we are,
okay.
We are joining you from Speakeasy Studio in the heart of Riga. So that's why we joined from two accounts. So one is set up for the audio and the camera, and the other one is my computer and the presentation. So that's why we have two accounts, and we are two, so we need two accounts.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yes, I
We
remember
should
from
fill up the spots.
I remember from the Namibia business delegation trips that your presentations always stop the audience to really listen. That hey, what are those boys? They were like a show.
Heikki, when you send invitations, we are getting ready to show. So, you know, we are here to do what we do.
Okay. Now I have, of course, small problems with my mouse.
So what's the plan? Are we the first to kick this off, or there's somebody else? Usually the captain speaks first. So Heikki, did we miss that part?
I was telling already what kind of Christmas presents I got and about the weather and all these kind of things. So we are more or less close to continue on your part, but for some reason the presenter ball dropped to the Jonas. So can you, Jonas, take the red box on your name and drag it over to the Solar PV Latvia Group, if I can ask?
To Richard Appens.
To me.
To Richard Appens.
Richard Appens,
okay.
To my personal, yeah. So because from the group, like I said, we are running the audio and video, and the presentation is from my laptop here. So that's why give it to me. Give it to me, please.
All right. So to which name should I drag you to?
Richard Appens.
I see it.
Do I have the power?
Not yet.
Not yet. As you can see that we are more used to use Teams nowadays, and this Hill WebEx is a little bit rusty.
It's a little bit tricky, yes. So Captain, you said I drag the red?
Yes, you drag it, keep your mouse down and then drag it to the Appens, Richard Appens, and when you just release it there, then it goes there.
I'm not sure if I need permissions for this, but it's not working. I see the red dot. I'm trying to drag it.
Uzspied vienkārši share.
Because brothers can't share their screen before we get them this red box.
Okay. Intro.
Heikki, onko Nina paikalla?
Oli aamulla.
Joo, kun hän on hosti, niin mä en tiedä, saaks miten siis pitäisi painaa varmaan hirveän oikeita näppäitä, että toi Joonas saa sen niinku, että hänen pitää luopua tavallaan sit jako-oikeudesta.
Yeah. So Jonas, you should track it using your right
Amazing.
side button on your mice.
All right, I've
Richard.
tried another option. It seems
Now
to
it's
be
there.
working.
Yeah,
Oh,
Richard,
you
you
have
have
it.
it.
All right. Give me a second. Give me just
Yeah.
one little second.
Miracles happen, guys.
Šitas nav īstais. Es domāju, tā, šitas ir īstais.
And now your share box should be active.
I have the power.
You have the power, solar power even.
Yes.
Exactly. So,
Šitas te.
tas ir īstais.
Yes, yes.
We are seeing that.
Jā, presentation. Otrādi.
Okay.
We saw your presentation nicely a moment ago.
Yes, that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me just do it one more time.
It was a quiet version.
Tā izskatās.
Okay. Tagad vari šērot.
So, tagad. Okay. It's here and put this. How
Yes.
about that? So, now everything is okay. It looks full screen as it's supposed to be.
Yes, all good.
So, as some of you know, we are the Solar Brothers. What we do, we do solar. What a surprise! And today, ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk about Solar Stone specifically. But for those unfortunate souls who might not know who we are, so we have a little presentation. So what we do. So we are the Solar Brothers. There's two of us. This is Albert.
That is Richard.
And this is how we do the solar projects here in the Baltics and hopefully very soon also across the continent. So the principles how we work is that we do all the engineering and all the solar design in-house, and then we have partners across the Europe with who we work to realize the projects. So I'm the CEO of the company, and Albert is the solar advisor of the board. And if any one of you are wondering what that is, he's gonna tell you right now.
So yes, this is a position that I take as a solar expert and discussing with the board and consulting the board regarding the strategical technical projects that we have, since we have also strategic partners, such companies as SolarStone and Solitech and Huawei, and also Renewable and 3 systems from all across Europe. So we have the opportunity to combine the most effective ways how to build solar parks. And since we have been doing it for already 5 years, so we have gathered a lot of experience with different projects, and we have learned from it. So it's good to see that also the solar industry is growing, and it's going into integrated solutions, which we have been fan of since day one. Yes, so a little bit about ourselves. You can also check our experience on LinkedIn profiles. We have been updating it and kept it up to date. And it's simple. We do solar, and we do projects from the idea of the project till the consulting of maintenance of the project.
So for many years, until the first EV stepped into Latvia and our continent, we've been talking, hey guys, the EV charging is going to be great. It's going to be massive across our country, and I think across the world, especially with the gas prices surging. That's also a big part of the PV projects, at least in our country. Where we do solar, and the next step they are asking about EV chargers and which EV to choose, because there's so many of them, and which is good, which is bad, which should you avoid. So we do the consultation process across the board for everything related to solar. What a surprise!
Yes. And with SolarStone, you have the ability to integrate solar into your roof. So it works as a roofing material. And also the good thing is that you can choose whether you cover the whole roof or you can integrate part of the roof with solar panels. So these options we will show you a little bit later in the calculator, so it's very easy and intuitive to use.
And that is it. Now, if Heikki will grant us a couple of more minutes, we would like to show you the website for the SolarStone, where anyone across the world can go and see the indicative pricing for the SolarStone solution. Just keep in mind that the calculator in here is based for the Baltic projects. So the indicative pricing includes also the inverter and the installation of the project. But across the other side of the world, the installation, will have to be calculated for the on-site project. So let me continuously share what we have here. And here we are. So I will also afterwards send this website if anyone missed it. It's solarstone.ee, and it's our neighboring country, Estonia, who has came up with this solution. And we see a huge surge across the Nordics and the Baltics specifically for this solution. So what does this give you? This gives you a solar panel as building material. And as you can see from the presentation even here, that it can be used in hangars, in commercial applications, even
carports.
Yes, carports, and the appliances just keep growing. How many ways can you use the solar? So instead of building the roof and putting panels on the roof, you can integrate it from the get-go, from the project phase, when you know how the building will look like, what is the power required for that building, and it goes very smoothly with the inverters, with the Huawei batteries as a storage solution for both commercial and residential applications. I think we have exceeded our time, so I will send this link later on after maybe a very brief showing while the Heikki is not kicking us out, I'll
No,
use
we started late, so please take your time. And I was just talking with Fredrik. He's about to tell about the wind power, and he has difficulties to sign in.
Oh, that's a surprise.
Yeah, so maybe it's so that with my sailing experience, I will tell about wind and sails.
Yes.
It's the same.
Same.
Basically same, but different.
So here we can see that you enter the dimensions of the roof in millimeters, and then you add the slope of the roof, and the minimum slope is 18 degrees, and then you just submit it, and here you can see the panel orientation, and the purple ones are the fake panels, which are filling the gaps that are too small for a complete panel to be installed, and you can change the layout of them. So this way you can simulate different ways how you can set up the panels, since you can do them landscape and portrait orientation. And at the bottom you will see sum total, which includes also inverters installation without VAT. And when you have created the roof that you want, you can go to the bottom and create a top view diagram. And if you send us this top view diagram, we already have the information with which we can work to prepare already the final offer. And this calculator gives you the possibilities to change different types of roofs, meaning that you can customize easily the slope and so on. And we won't go through it in detail, but yes, here you can add the roofs, and if you just add one of the roof, it will create two roofs. And that calculator is for the large panels, and also we have the smaller panels. So we enter one roof, other roof, we submit it, and then you get the view. And here you can see how these panels will be fixed, and around them you will place the shingle roof. And the same, you can go downstairs, and at the bottom you can print out the diagram, and then we have already a document that we can start working with and finalizing it. So it's that simple.
All right, guys, so that is it from our side. You'll have the links afterwards for everything that we showed here and even more. Thank you for your attention. Heikki, take it away with the sales. Or the wind.
Thank you.
Sailing wind.
It's 6,600 miles to Namibia, but with the sailing vessel, let's say at least the transportation chain will be very smooth and emission free, and it will be nice to ship the panels from your factory. So
you just can step with your boat in Riga. So we will load up the panels, and then you sail them to Namibia. And
yes,
we already have good connections in port, as you know.
Yes.
Yes, the last thing that I wanted to mention, especially for our friends in Namibia, we have already in one of our SME trips to Namibia set up a company there. So it's operational, up and running. So we are also commercially ready to start business with the solar in Namibia.
Okay, I like to ask Jonas to step also on the side, because I'm just thinking that as a miracle for me that here in the dark north we can produce electricity from the sun, and it's worthwhile of rechanging your tiles on the roof to these solar panels. But when we go down to the Namibia, I've been in Namibia starting from 2012 with the research vessel Mirabilis 31 times after that. So, and it's been sunny every day, not the nighttime like we have in the midsummer, but can, for example, this kind of calculation with the small modification work in Namibia?
Well, of course, the solar panels do work in Namibia, and they do work effectively in Namibia. And in fact, in Namibia, since we did calculations, the difference is that you actually have to take care of panels not getting too hot. So you have work to make the system so the ventilation works. And for Namibia, also we will provide the information. Solarstone has created carports for 2 cars or 1 car, and we can also extend these carports. So it would be one of the solutions that would work in Namibia, that you have these open carports with solar panels as not just the roof, but also the wall to the south. So you can make great things in Namibia with these open structures.
Yep.
Definitely,
story.
Richard and Albert, that was a wonderful presentation. And Captain Aiki, definitely there's room for application for all of this, and we've seen it starting already at a small scale. As you mentioned, we get about, I think, 3,500 hours of sunlight, and it's really high quality sunlight, as mentioned. So the challenge is more keeping the panels cool. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I'll touch on some of those when I start my presentation. But Richard and Albert, that was an amazing presentation.
Thank you, Jonas.
Thank you, Jonas.
Look forward for your presentation also.
Okay, as I get WhatsApp messages about the difficulties to bring the specialist of wind here, I'll think we will take Jonas' presentation at here and continue on talking about this. And now we should get the red ball or red cubicle from Richard to Jonas. So if Nina is available. This is a little bit tricky because Nina is sick, and she just could open the line because we didn't want to change it, but we developed here now this the host problem.
I think Richard has to like stop the share, so
Yeah.
we have to move it to the Jonas, otherwise it's not working.
Yeah, Richard has the keys. Yes, excellent. And then Jonas, there is a share button in the bottom row. Yes, you found it, of course.
Jonas, so we had the same issue here with the WebEx. So what I did, from the PowerPoint, I exported it as PDF, and then you on the top right you present it, and then it's normal, just one screen. We had the same thing here going on.
All right. So at the moment you can't see me, but you can see the presentation, right?
No, we see you and we see the presentation. However, we see your presenter view instead of the presenting. So we have to see the next slide also.
All right. Okay, can you just take me through that again? How do I change that?
Yes, so you exit the presentation screen. just press exit on the keyboard. Basically, exit. It will take you
Escape.
off. Yeah, escape. On the keyboard. It should.
Oh, yeah, just
Yeah,
go,
or
yeah.
there, or there.
Just
Yep.
press on the X. Yeah. Yeah.
On the X, yes,
yeah.
right there. So you'll exit the presentation, and now on the top left, go to File. On the top left of your PowerPoint, yes. And
Save as.
no, export.
Ah.
So go below, yes, export, and it will show create a PDF.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah. And then
Press the to create. Yes, this one. And just save it on the desktop, and that's it. Now close it. This one.
I should close this one
Yes.
and this one.
And open the one from the desktop.
Okay.
And remember to send us the presentations, and thank you for being the moderator from
no problem. No problem.
You solved the problem what you met so quickly that I didn't recognize at all that there is any problem. But now I see that you made this solution quite quickly.
Eiki, we did spend in IT support some time during our lifetimes.
Okay.
Yes, some 10 years. Some 10 years. So now, Jonas, open the PDF from where you exported it.
All right,
On the
it's
desktop.
open. Are you able to see it?
No, now you have to present it in the WebEx. Share screen.
Sure. Okay, I see.
Yep.
And now,
Yes.
yes, this one. Press on the top right corner. The two arrows that are pointing one from each other away.
Top
All right.
right.
Top right, yes. Yes, that one.
Fantastic.
And there you go.
Press
Thank you so much.
F11. Press now F11.
11. Say again.
F11, yes.
F11.
F11.
All right.
It should create it completely full screen. Okay, it's fine. Let's go it like that.
It's fine, yeah?
Yes.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, I think we can jump into it. So I'll basically be touching a bit on the collaboration possibilities for Central Baltic area, focusing specifically on Namibia as the central entry point, but obviously also for the Southern African area. As you can see there by the two logos, I'm actually representing two institutions. The one you must be very familiar with, which is the Namibian University of Science and Technology, NUST, which is our science and technology university here. And the other is the Namibia Institute of Manufacturing and Commerce, which has a similar role actually to SMEL in terms of business promotion, specifically for those businesses in the manufacturing sector. So in terms of the presentation, just a quick introduction, key opportunities, which I think is really the crux of the meat of this presentation. Some of the emerging trends that are still a few years from being realized, and then some next steps that we can take for action. So why Namibia? Actually, I think this is a question that most of you have probably already answered for yourselves, and has been touched on by the previous presenters. We have very, very high wind speeds in terms of the wind energy. We've got about 3,500 hours of quality sunlight, 15,000 kilometers of vast open land, most of which is also along the coastline. We've got port and transport infrastructure that's really good, a low population density, which opens up the area and the land to really strategically position Namibia as a renewable energy hub. And the talk at the moment is really the energy transition in terms of climate change is a huge issue. I think even with the World Economic Forum in Davos, this is one of the key issues. Everyone is pushing for net zero emissions. And for us as a country, really, we want to have a green industrial revolution where we're focusing on economic recovery, focusing on how we can use green industry, specifically renewable energy. So that answers the question of why Namibia. There's a lot of avenues for renewable energy. There's geothermal energy, there's hydro energy, biomass, but the two biggest one are, in my view, at least in my perspective, is the solar as well as the wind. And as you probably are aware, Namibia at the moment is positioning itself to be a green hydrogen hub to see basically how we can convert the energy from these two sources to produce green hydrogen and ammonia and all other derivatives. So the two main ones that I'm going to focus on is the solar as well as the wind energy. So in terms of key opportunities from my perspective, and I must say I'm not a technical expert, so this presentation is more from a business development and strategic partnerships perspective. The three key areas is, first one is in renewable energy technologies. So this aligns very well with the presentation from our brothers from the solar PV. So Namibia is currently busy with the Southern Corridor Development Initiative, where we're setting up a green hydrogen plant based in the south. But there's also some plants being set up in the coast in the Erongo region, which I'm sure Captain Eki is quite familiar with. So with that, it provides a huge opportunity for especially local companies to take up some of the smaller projects, setting up the wind plants, for example, and the solar plants, for example. And for that, we don't really have the capacity to do that on our own. So that's why we need partners to bring in the technologies required, but also the expertise and capacity required to set that up. So the technologies really is in the areas of solar PV, solar water heating, and also solar photovoltaic pumping to replace the normal diesel pumping. So especially when it comes to the agriculture side of things, because what the country is looking at really in terms of this green industrial revolution is having a hybrid renewable energy on the one side as well as agriculture on the other side, and really seeing how these two can be combined in a sort of circular ecosystem. So solar PV pumping is a big one, but also in terms of energy storage, we've seen a lot of wastage, which is affecting the efficiency of these grids and these mini grids. So we're trying to see how can this be stored, how can it better be stored. So we're looking at energy storage technologies. And then lastly, I think it's in terms of appliances, whether it's energy efficient stoves, the geysers, fridges that work with or that are compatible with solar. And so these appliances also, there's a huge market for it, especially now that there's a drive for the gas that are off grid to be powered through solar and wind. Then the second opportunity lies in power production as well as projects. A few years back, I think around 2017, we modified our single buyer, something called a single buyer policy, where initially we had a market operator, which is NamPower, Namibian Power Corporation, which was the only one that was really producing energy. But now their role is threefold, which is that of a generator, as well as a transmitter and a trader. So it's what we call there's what we call independent power production. This is a huge opportunity to basically set up a mini power plant and then sell off this energy to NamPower and sell off this energy to the regional energy distributors, or the REDs as they're known, as well as even export. So this is a huge opportunity, and I think it was one of the opportunities where we had gotten in touch with the solar PV to really explore this opportunity. There's also opportunities in the informal settlements in urban areas to try and electrify them through a renewable energy. And of course, in the rural areas for the guys that are off the grid, there's a document that I will share along with this presentation that really outlines Namibia's plans to say which are the areas that have been identified to say it's going to take us many years before they are connected to the grid. So what we're trying to do now is put up renewable energy mini grids in those areas. Of course, I've mentioned the national projects such as the Southern Corridor Development Initiatives, but there's a few other national projects to electrify rural areas through renewable energy. So those are opportunities as well that the local smaller SMEs here need partners for the technologies and to form joint ventures essentially. We also have industry recovery, especially the hospitality industry at the moment. They are currently working on their turnaround and recovery plan. And one of the areas that they're looking in is sustainability, to try and not so much depend on the main electricity grid, but have their own solar plants set up in lodges and resorts that are a bit remote. So this saves them a lot, both immediately and also obviously over the long term. And then mini grid integration. So we have these mini grids in schools, in clinics. So there's really work being put into trying to integrate those grids so that the electricity is better used. I'll give an example of a school. For example, when they go on school holidays or vacations for a month or 2 months, then that energy being produced is actually not being used. So there's a lot of work and a lot of opportunities going into integrating those grids and then trying to use that energy more efficiently and possibly sell it off to the REDs and the market operator. And then lastly, I think there's opportunities in research and development as well as skills development. There's a lot of money being pumped into feasibility studies and viability studies at the moment. So there are institutions that are part of SMEL and companies that are part of SMEL that have capacity for doing feasibility studies and viability. There are some really, really great opportunities here. And then, of course, education and training. As mentioned, Namibia is positioning itself as the hub of green energy and renewable energy. So there's a lot of opportunities to upskill local communities and either offer, especially the vocational training areas, vocational training education, but also formal education, specifically in renewable energy and green hydrogen. So those are the key opportunity areas. I'll just briefly touch on some emerging trends and some emerging technologies. There's an area that is growing quite in popularity, which is agrovoltaics, which is basically mixing agriculture as well as renewable energy in one circular system. And this is growing in popularity because of circularity. People want a system that is, well-rounded. So you have energy being produced on the one side, and you also have food or some sort of agriculture project happening. So this is normally grown under solar panels. We don't have a problem with land because the land is vast, but the temperatures are extremely high. So this soil serves sort of as a greenhouse of some sort. It also helps with output so that, this side there's income coming from the energy, this side there's some income coming from the agriculture. And then obviously it's sustainable in terms of reforesting some of these dry areas. The other area is that of electric vehicles, specifically for logistics in terms of trucking and public transport. I think it was mentioned that the gas prices have risen. So this creates more opportunity and a big window for people really to go into EVs. That's both in terms of conversion, so converting cars either into a hybrid or purely EV, but then also in terms of charging ports. Namibia got its first charging port here in Windhoek in January, and there's a plan to set up a few charging ports along our main routes, which is Windhoek to Swakopmund in the coast and Windhoek to Oshakati up north. So there's a lot of opportunities there and a lot of funding available. But for local SMEs, they're really struggling because they don't have the capacity. And then lastly, the trend is on impact and green sourcing. So companies that are coming to set up shop here in Namibia or coming to collaborate here, there's really a focus on the social impact. So we've seen companies collaborating with a company based in Paris at the moment that's setting up a green hydrogen plant in Swakopmund, and we're assisting them to craft basically a social impact strategy focusing on society, whether it's in terms of education at really grassroots level in terms of renewable energy, whether it's in terms of the environment, and obviously also in terms of employment and contributing to the economy. So those are the three major trends at the moment in the country. Just wrapping up, I think in terms of next steps, I will share this PowerPoint. There are some key documents that I really think is critical for your members, the members of SMEL, to familiarize themselves with when it comes to renewable energy. And the first one is the Renewable Energy Policy. Then the Off-Grid Energization Master Plan. This is the document I touched on to say that they've identified which areas will be off-grid and which areas need mini grids so that they can be electrified through renewable energy. We also have the Modified Single Buyer Policy, which really outlines the independent power production, which in my view is the biggest potential. And then the National Policy for IPPs, and then the Public Procurement Act, which normally gives preferential treatment to local companies, and these local companies then need to go into joint ventures, or they need to source and get technologies from partners such as those that are part of SMEL. So all these documents, we put them in a pack and we'll share them with you along with this PowerPoint presentation. Another area that I think can be a good next step of action is probably business to business matchmaking. So we have a list of approved and registered companies that is part of the Namibia Energy Institute here at NAST. This is it has about 60 companies that are renewable energy approved and registered companies. So it's a big opportunity for actually companies to have kind of business to business matchmaking. I know this is part of SMEL's strategy and some of the work that you do. So this are some areas. And then just general networking and matchmaking. I think with COVID-19 out of the way now, there's a lot of opportunity for this. And then after that, obviously, it would be good if companies can enter into MOUs, joint ventures, maybe do feasibility studies in some areas and conduct research projects together. And that's about it from my side. Over to you, Captain Ike. I am available if there's any questions.
Thank you, Jonas. Also, excellent presentation, and I'm happy to see that the line is pretty good. That we heard your presentation very well. There were no interruptions on that side at all, and I will give now all the participants possibility to ask questions from these two excellent presentations. So they are all yours, dear participants from
Yes.
all over the world.
Yes, thank you, Heikki, for this opportunity. Jonas, from my side, I am ecstatic to hear that you have already installed some EV chargers in Windhoek, as I understand, right? That's where the EV charging was set up. Because when we were visiting Namibia, we didn't see any EVs or charging like it was 2 years ago. And now it's happening, and I hope it happens even more rapidly than it did in Latvia, because we had maybe 100 EVs in total like 3 years ago, and then all of a sudden one of the car sharing companies started with buying 100 EVs. So basically they were the small Renault Zoes, and all of a sudden the EV market doubled, and across like the next 2 years like more than 150 chargers are in Latvia, and we of course are a much smaller country than Namibia, but from this side I am very happy to see that, and it's also economically feasible to use EVs. So maybe that's something that you can also take into consideration as car share. So basically where people just use the cars and pay as you go. So that's a model that's here been expanding tremendously. I've been using it myself and for our company for a year now, and it's very convenient, and the most important thing, it's cost efficient. It's good for the business. It makes sense that the company doesn't have to repair the vehicles or anything. They just have the contract and use it when they need to. So basically the car, when it's not used, it's just used by other people. So very happy to see that. I'm looking forward how it develops.
Yes. And one more point from our side. I'm glad to hear that there are already started green hydrogen projects, because Namibia is perfect place for green hydrogen, not only generation for yourself, for transport and energy storage, which you mentioned, the mini grids. This way you can support not only with batteries, but with hydrogen as a battery or PV plants, and you can create these hubs of green hydrogen that would generate naturally commerce around them, because you can charge trucks, cars, trains, buses, everything. And also you can charge electric cars there, since hydrogen to electricity is very efficient also. So glad to hear that there are such projects started already. Thumbs up.
Thank you, Jonas.
Thank you for that feedback, colleagues. And I totally agree in terms of the EVs. Some great work is going into it now, and the interest is peaking. And as I said, I think the the global situation is also influencing it because the gas price is going up. So people are looking at all these alternatives, which before we wouldn't really think about, or we think it's so far in the future. And same with the green hydrogen as well. The government is doing extremely well in terms of attracting foreign direct investment. And the focus is on youth employment and creating opportunities for the local. But as mentioned, locals, we don't have that capacity. So we need partners to assist with the technologies and to basically help with the capacity and expertise as well.
Yes, so from our side, like we mentioned, it was a small portion of our presentation because we really wanted to talk in here about integrated solar, but EV charging infrastructure has been something that we've been also working for more than 3 years here. So in terms of like complete solution, if we're talking about carport with solar panels, with battery storage and EV charging, it works 100 times better than in Latvia right now because of the high density of the sun in there. So very happy to hear that. Good news across the board. All right, Heikki, we are not going to steal your show. This is your show.
No.
Jump in and say it say it. So I'm done now. I can just mute myself and listen.
You are the specialist, so it's definitely your show, and I really hope that this will go further and you will have joint ventures and new business opportunities in Namibia where we really have the sun and so on, and new game changer maybe in the energy sector is that they found oil from the Namibian waters. I don't know how much oil they found it or what, but at least the very first figures were showing quite huge well that they found. So the drilling will start. Let's hope that they don't influence on the good fishing waters. Maybe we get fish in oil in the very new product, probably, or not.
Yes.
But of course, then they had to solve this problem that do you will build a new energy sector so that you will handle the oil, or are you shipping it out straight like crude oil? But how it goes, but it's for sure changing the let's say the energy sector in Namibia, like the green hydrogen investments now, they are chasing it also.
Yes, Heikki, you are completely correct. As we know, it's not like internal combustion engines are going anywhere. You know, they're still gonna stay here, and there's still appliances where, as in Namibia, you have to cross vast distances. So we totally see that also internal combustion engines are also part of the infrastructure going forward. But in this case, it's with the big leap in the EVs, we see that, you know, the sector will be more diversified, where people can actually choose whether they want to buy an EV or internal combustion engine. But for people to choose EVs, at first, you know, there has to be infrastructure with the EV charging. So, and in the end of the day, all businesses operate the same way across all continents. You know, for business, it's all about income, outcome, how much money can they save if they use this technology or that. So that's up to each company in the country.
And also crude oil is used for many products that we don't even think about. For example, crude oil is used in plastics, bags, even clothing is, even for clothing oil is used. So this is a very good resource, because not only the gas can be created from the oil, but a vast majority of different appliances. So this is very good, and also there is also a possibility to export and make money as a country.
Okay, we can be only happy that Fredrik couldn't join the webinar, and so we will leave the wind for the last final conference, which will take place next month already. We start marketing that pretty soon, and I so much like to thank you for your excellent presentations and so on, and we will now share it with the SME companies, for example, so that there are these different opportunities. And last week I had my first personal touch with the electric cars. We have some of those for our personal use here in the Satakunta University of Applied Sciences, and then we drove 250 kilometers up to the north, and I ever first time charged the car with using my SMS, and I was very I had the number for the towage company that they can take us to the town when we can't load anymore and the battery is finished, but it worked, and I got immediately back the information that how many euros it cost to charge it, and everything worked nicely. So it's I lost my virginity on that case now.
Congratulations on that, Heikki.
Okay.
I'm very glad. And how was the ride? Did you enjoy the silent ride?
Yes. Yeah, we were three men, and we were chatting and so on. So it was nice. Yeah. But we are, guys and ladies, in the end of this webinar. I can say that it was a bit too short for these good conversations, and we definitely like to ask these two excellent speakers from 6,600 miles each other to join our final conference to let's say put again this solar thing on the table. But if there are any other questions, we will shut down this line and wish you a pleasant end of the March, and this side will hope very warm summer, and on the other side we hope not too cold winter. So thank you everybody. Bye.
Thank you, Heikki, and everybody.
Much.
It was nice to see you. Bye.
Bye.